Stadium on the campus of Irmo High School for this presentation of the South Carolina High School League Lacrosse State Championships in 2024. We've got a busy day of lax on the docket for you, crowning 4 new state champions. So glad you've joined us here on the NFHS Network as we open up action with Class 5A girls. It's the upper state champion Yellow Jackets of Fort Mill High School against the local favorites, a lot of fans in the building for them, the lower state champion Eagles of Chapin High School. Alongside David Bates, I'm Brett Williams. Thanks so much for joining us today. Chapin is in the blue, moving from left to right on your screens here in the first quarter of play. Fort Mill in the home whites. Upper state teams are the official home teams today. They are moving from right to left as Chapin sets up for the first offensive possession of our day. David, always exciting to be back here, and this should be a great one here, a rematch of what we saw earlier in the season.
Well, not just that. I think we talked about this before the show started, that this is probably going to be the best game of the whole day. These teams saw each other. Chapin came away with it earlier in the season, but they were down at halftime, so they had to fight back to come back and beat Fort Mill. So we're excited, and let's get this party started. It
was a 10-7 Chapin final earlier in the year as Fort Mill causes the turnover, quickly moves the other way. Dispossessed down inside was Molly Bennett, their leading goal scorer, as she tried to make a play at the cage, but not to be. Chapin attempts to clear, unable to do so, and the Yellow Jackets take it right back.
And that's what we're going to want to see. We want to see how the teams ride to prevent these easy, fast breaks. Controlling the ball, controlling the tempo is a big part of any momentum of any game.
Do expect this to be a pretty close contest. As you mentioned, Fort Mill comes in the 7th-ranked team in the state, number 4 in Class 5A, according to Max Preps. Yellow Jackets are 13-5 on the season, and Chapin was the only South Carolina foe to beat them. The other 4 were close losses to Charlotte area schools just over the border from where they are in the Charlotte suburbs. That was a big check that was a late call, but I think the right call.
Oh, absolutely. Anytime you see in a girls' game somebody gets shoved down to the ground, it's a pretty easy call. But sometimes the refs are looking at multiple things and just want to make sure they get the right call before, stopping the play.
A restart here from CeCe Shia. It was fantastic the other night in the Upper State Championship as Fort Mill took down the reigning Upper State champions J.L. Mann. Shia with 6 goals in that game. Now the quick pass inside, the bouncer. It's Shia once again, and Fort Mill strikes first.
Oh, absolutely. All they did was just a little offside cut. What you're looking to do is you want to feed, you want to draw, and they found the open girl in the crease. So, got a nice little bouncer. You saw it hit it at the top net.
So Shia picks up right where she left off the other night. Just a couple minutes into this one.
But the importance of lacrosse is what we're about to see right now. If you're able to score and basically play make it, take it on a draw or a face-off, you can really control the game how you want it to be played.
Molly Bennett, the leader in draw controls for Fort Mill. It's Ava Claire Collins for Chapin. She leads the team in a lot of categories. Ava Brandstadter, the one handling things for the Eagles, but it's Fort Mill who controls. So they are able to make it, take it. Taylor Wilcox with it here. Team's leading assister as she tumbles inside the arc. Another foul is called against the Eagles.
I think the Eagles are setting it up for they want to play tough, and they're going to want to play physical. The fact that was so close to the goal is going to let them get a free run at the goal.
Wilcox 4th in goals for the Yellow Jackets. Lets it fly. Didn't get much on that. Easily swallowed up by Dakota Cheek. So Chapin looking to counter with some speed. Jules Brown juggled.
Yeah, it looks like she just dropped it.
But Brooke Holmes scoops it up. We'll see what Chapin's able to do. They registered 1 shot, was not on goal in their first possession. Chapin, the number 3 ranked team in the state, the top ranked team in 5A. They are 17-2 on the season, and their only 2 losses came to the 2 teams ranked higher than them in the state. The lower state powerhouses of Bishop England, who we'll see later today, and Oceanside Collegiate.
I'm sorry, there was obviously a call. I didn't see what the official called, but they're just getting them set up. coming from the Chapin side, we've seen 2 physical ones, so obviously there was a call, just not as physical as the other ones.
Looks like Ava Claire Collins was able to draw shooting space. And so Chapin will get a free position look, and that's exactly who they want handling things. Ava Claire Collins, their all-time leading goal scorer in program history, and she adds another one to her total to tie the game.
Oh, you could just tell by her formation, her fundamentals of having the stick ready to shoot as soon as she saw an open opportunity and got it. And like you said, that's the person who they wanted to take it. She took advantage of it, and you could actually tell she's a shooter.
Make it 229 goals in the career of Ava Claire Collins.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Broke the record 2 rounds ago against River Bluff, and then added 3 more in Chapin's lower state championship victory over Wando, which avenged 3 straight years of losing to the Warriors in that same round. So you know that felt good for the Eagles, and now trying to get back on top of the mountain for the first time in 5 years. Last time they did so, it came against these Fort Mill Yellow Jackets.
Yep, they got a new coaching staff, and, new players, so no one was part. They do have an assistant that was a part of that original championship, but new head coach. Like I said, 5 years ago, so no freshmen that were made it. So new crew.
Raven Thomas, the head coach of Chapin in her 5th year, so took over right after the championship, and she said in the press conference this week that she and assistant coach Tony Mathis knew that this is the most talented group we've ever coached. Knew they had tremendous potential, and now just trying to finish the job. Fort Mill, a worthy opponent. Molly Bennett cycling around, lets it fly. They recovered back there.
Raven's also done an excellent job of growing the game. She's very involved in the travel and the youth programs in this area, and that's why you also see teams like River Bluff and Lexington are significant powers in this area, because she helps them as well.
Didn't help herself in the process. Made it a little bit trickier on her Eagles.
Oh, absolutely. When you go over some of those scores, like he said, Chapin, River Bluff 2 rounds ago was a 10-13 game, I believe, and it was a close one.
Thomas herself a Dutch Fork product, so all around this area. Wilcox once again for Fort Mill.
You can see a lot of off-ball movement for Fort Mill. They're sending a lot of cutters to get either into, looks like they're going to an overload on one side. I say that, but then she just runs through 3 girls where all the overload was. I think there were probably more setting up for an isolation on the left side, but she felt that she could beat her defender to the right.
Well, Molly Bennett leads these Yellow Jackets in goals, ground balls, draw controls, does it all.
This is the matchup they want. You see how they're set up.
Shia forced out. Bennett creating space. Ground ball loose behind the cage, taken by Chapin. And you hear the roar of the Eagle faithful. They're outnumbering Fort Mill a solid 2-1, if not 3-1 here today. No surprise, just 15 miles down the road from their campus. On the cut, here's Holmes, shoots high and scores.
Let's go over that little sudden movement that she did. She initially dodged and backed off 1 step to get that defender to step forward, and then proceed to push around her to get her, draw her away a little bit to get an easy goal one-on-one with the goalie.
Holmes second behind Ava Claire Collins in scoring for Chapin, and using her size to her advantage there.
But let's give credit to the goalie. Goalie made a save and made a beautiful 20, 30-yard pass down the field to get that transition, and did not allow Fort Mill to get their defense set up. That was an unsettled goal, which always gives a favor to the more, scoring opportunity middies or attackmen.
Third straight draw control by Fort Mill as the Yellow Jackets try to tie this game. Chapin's defense has been pretty strong the last couple possessions. Yellow Jackets have gotten shots, but maybe not the highest percentage ones. Haven't had the space to really wind up and let it go. Trying to penetrate the 8, can't do so here. That's Catherine Boyes. And now Izzy English.
So not as much movement in the last possession as we saw. Oh, they were just running play. A nice little sweep play.
Shia swings. Dakota Cheek is there. Doesn't seem like Fort Mills had as much snap on their shots as they might be hoping for. Eagles trying to run and tack in transition again. This is Jules Brown to Ava Claire Collins.
Oh, got in the shooting space again. So.
Thought they might turn to the goal, but got it right before she did so. So Collins hands it off this time. Didn't work, but the Eagles able to maintain. Here's Claire Corneliuson. That's a foul.
Yeah. So it looks like Chapin's more set up in an open set. There's no one in the middle. There's not sending cutters. I think they're just relying on their overall talent to beat their players one-on-one in situations and get to those penalty-type shots.
Corneliuson working ahead. Solid defense there by Nicolette Dialto. Back to Brown. The dump to Collins. What a feed! 3-1 Eagles.
I hope everybody at home could see that. She had a nice backhand shot, beat her defender on that cut, a beautiful pass, and were able to catch that under pressure and then get a backhand shot.
So Ava Claire Collins with her second of the day. The assist from Jules Brown, who leads this team in that category. We haven't seen Brown hit the score sheet yet today from a goal standpoint. She had 4 in the semifinal victory against Wando, but really it's Brown, Collins, and Holmes, the three-headed monster for Chapin. They are by far the statistically highest goal scorers and assist leaders for this team.
So what Fort Mills defense is going to have to do is they're going to have to force some outside shots so the goalie can get more confidence in their saves. She has yet to make a save on goal, and that just starts to really get to a mental part of it for goalies.
Another draw controlled by Fort Mill, so they've had their way in the circle to this point.
And long if you keep winning those, you're always still in it. You know, every game, everybody knows games are made of runs. You know, and being able to control the draw like that is going to make it really easy once you start going. Once that roll starts coming. So last possession, Fort Mill tried to do a sweep where they just lined up on one side and had all the off-ball players just run one way, and the other offensive player went to the goal.
Izzy English trying to create for herself. That shot was outright blocked. Gets it right back. Bounces it wide. A lot of Eagles flocking to the ball. They'll take over.
Yeah, it was pretty physical. I don't know if anybody was actually looking for the penalty or not, but Fort Mill took an opportunity. They got the ball and took a good shot, but just too far left.
I think they'll take more shots like that. That was one that Izzy English got her full power behind. And now almost scooped a ground ball. Great job on the recovery by Madison Lofton.
Well, we've seen a couple times, you know, even if it's from being pushed or not, some of these girls are ending up on the ground, and sometimes the turf can have effect on that if you're not used to playing.
Excellent quality field here at W.C. Hawkins Stadium. Host of this tournament for a number of years. An absolutely spectacular day as well. Mid-70s, couldn't have asked for anything better.
Oh, absolutely. Actually, I think we're over 10 years here at Irma hosting it. We started hosting it when I was the head coach here about 8 years ago when I first started. And they've kept the tradition of still maintaining this wonderful tournament, state championship.
They do it well. Certainly well warranted. Outside free position look. Working her way in and bouncing it wide was Brown.
Ooh.
But now she'll be sent off with a yellow card.
Oh, wow.
What'd you see there, David?
I think they called it on number 10, Chapin. I'm honestly, I'm looking for number 10 where it was. I didn't see 10 have the ball. I was more focused on the ball.
Yeah, so 21 was the one that had the shot, and she's the one currently in the box.
Yeah, we're sorry, folks. I missed that.
Interesting.
Yeah. Something happened away from the ball that we just missed, and couldn't get a clarification on it well enough. But I've just heard the PA announcer that says the call was on number 10.
Waning seconds of the first quarter, and that'll do it. As Chapin causes the turnover late, they will stay woman down.